Good evening, everyone. I hope you are doing well. This is
Good
Uzain
evening,
sir
sir.
here.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening,
Good
sir.
Good
evening,
evening,
sir.
sir.
First, I'll give you an idea about how we are going to proceed. Okay, what you need to do, what you not to do. Okay, and what is my expectation from you, what you need to do if you are in problem, and how the course will progress. Okay, there are certain norms of online classes because these classes will remain online throughout the year. And the norms are that when the class opens, audio and mic of all students will be on mute, but you can enable your mic. If you think that you need to speak something, you need to say something you're not able to understand, you can unmute your mic and you can let me know. Video will remain switched on of students I am talking about. Students' video will remain on during the class. Okay, during orientation session, it's fine. But during the class, your videos will remain on. Students will see teacher's screen, same as you are seeing at the moment, where all the concepts, examples, and illustrations will be explained in live mode. Students can raise their hand by clicking the bottom on the lower side of the screen. Okay, there's a button on the bottom side. Students can post their messages or response in chat window. The messages can be sent to either teachers only, which is the all panelists option. This is the mode you need to use. Okay, you will be posting the messages or response to me only. Second option is that you can send to all students and teachers. In that case, you need to select all panelists and attendees, but you don't need to use that, not to be used by students. Mode of communication of the class will be entirely in English. Okay, it does not mean that I don't know Hindi. I'm very good at Hindi. The only problem is that I don't know the terms of chemistry which are in Hindi. So I don't want to mix Hindi and English. So it will be entirely English classes. Attendance will be marked at any time during the class. You need to be attentive at all times. If you need to leave your seat, you need to write in the chat box that for 1 minute you are away from your seat. Now, students' dilemma. What students face the problem in chemistry mainly, okay? From where I need to study or how many books or guides I need to prepare from. This is the common question I get from students when they move from 10th to 11th. Okay. After the orientation session, obviously we are going to cover the course also, okay? Little bit of the chapter, first chapter, but first about what problems students normally face. Okay. So first problem is from where I need to study and how many books guides. For that, there's an analysis here. Normally, if you consider the guides which are available there, they are quite bulky. And those guides have around 1500 pages. Whether you consider Pradeep, which is very much popular, okay, or you consider any Unique, Dinesh, whatever, they have 1500 pages. Out of those 1500 pages, 1000 pages are there which have theory. And if you read these pages, one page will take 20 minutes. One page to understand what is written there, it is at least 20 minutes. It means total minutes 20,000. If I convert that to hours, 333 hours just to read once, only read once and understand. Then in the remaining pages, you have questions. And there are around 2,800 minimum questions. There are around 3,000. I have taken the lower side. And if you take 8 minutes average to do one question, obviously few questions will take 4 minutes, few questions will take 10 minutes or so. Then total minutes required will be 22,400, means 373 hours. After that, the revision will require another half of these, that is 353 hours. Total will be 1060 hours, that is 530 days, which you don't have. And it does not include your time which you devote in test and assignments and those activities. It is when you cover only 2 hours a day, then you need 530 days. And remember, it's not only chemistry you have to study. You have to study physics as well or other courses, okay? English as well, if you have taken computer science, that as well, everything. So 2 hours is on a higher side. It means if you go through the guides, you are not going to complete it in 1 year. So what you need to do? You need to just first consider the NCRT. If you can't do NCRT, you won't be able to do above that. So the approach will be you will be accessing the online notes. I'll give you a glimpse of that. Okay. Online notes are available for every chapter. So you will go through the notes only. You will not go through the guides, only notes. Okay. And then there will be question answer sets online. You will attempt those tests sets. Then there will be assignments and then there will be tests. This will be sufficient. You don't need to consult any guide, any book. If you can do online notes, QA sets, assignments, and tests. Okay. Nothing else required. The next question is, and meanwhile, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask, right? You can unmute your mic or you can let me know in chat window. If you don't
Excuse me,
want to,
sir.
yes,
Sir, so like, will you be providing packages or notes for the
those will be
classes?
online. Those will be online on case to case basis. PDFs will be provided. Okay. PDFs of notes and QA sets can be provided. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, next question is how much is sufficient? How much I need to pay? Where I think that I have done sufficient? That is the another question I usually get from the students. The answer is very simple here. The answer is if you are able to solve assignments and you get above 80% marks in online tests, it means you are progressing well. You can improve to 98%, 95%, 98%, 100%. If it is below 80%, it means you are not progressing well. If you are not able to solve the assignments without looking onto the solutions, it means you are not doing well. So that is the answer to this question. How much is sufficient? Clear? Answer is very easy. You should be able to solve the assignment and in tests, you should score 80% marks. Then you should think that you have done sufficiently. Now you can just revise at any other point of time. You can continue in the flow with the course. Now, toppers approach. What toppers do? And they do throughout the year. This cycle, what I am going to show you, is throughout the year you need to follow. And that is a common mistakes students usually do here. The first is cover the topic or chapter very quickly. Don't emphasize to understand all the aspects, all the concepts of a chapter in chemistry at first instance. You will not be able to do that. If you do that, you will be wasting double the time. So very quickly, you will glance through the chapter, entire chapter. Then you will identify the points which you need to cover in detail. That will give you an idea that where the linking is, what is the relationship amongst the entities we are talking about in that chapter. Because you have gone through the entire chapter, you will be able to find out the points which you need to cover in detail. After that is rather a more important point, which is what not to be done. In chemistry, 20% syllabus is actually useless. Questions are never asked from that. So you need to find out. Obviously, I'll guide you. I'll tell you what not to be done. So you don't waste time there. You can utilize that time either in revision or to do another subject. Okay. Then you need to fill the gaps. Now, when you know that what you need to do, what you not to do, then you can fill the gaps. And after filling the gaps, you need to test your knowledge. So test knowledge by assignments and tests. After that, if you find there are still any gaps, you need to fill those gaps. That will give you an idea that you are still not able to score at least 80%. 80% is the minimum mark, okay, not the maximum. Maximum is 100. Once you fill these gaps, then again, you need to go through the chapter very quickly. So in the entire process, what toppers follow, they never try to understand all the concepts in one go. And every time, whether it is second time, that chapter is covered very quickly. Theory part has to be covered very quickly because theory part is not going to tell you how to solve the questions. How to solve the questions is this thing.
So assignments is there.
Yes, assignments are there, tests are there. So that is the point which you need to emphasize more. So two most important point which I am saying here, okay, two most important point where students don't focus. Okay? Otherwise, they focus here, right? They try to find out what they need to cover. So this is not I am worried about. I am not worried about this point. I'm not worried about this point. I usually remain worried about these 2 points where students don't pay attention. They waste time on topics which are not important in chemistry, from where you won't get questions, and they do not test their knowledge. They actually run away from tests and assignments. So it is just opposite of what toppers do. Toppers rather love to appear in tests. They say, okay, give me one more test. I'll try to test whether I'm still able to do the questions or not. So that is the approach you have to follow. For you, two most important points are these ones. Now another point which students normally ask. What if I do not get good marks or I do not feel confident? I'm still not feeling confident. I'm not getting 80% marks at least, and I'm not feeling confident. The answer is very simple. You can't do it. You have to contact me. You have to talk to me. Okay. So anytime if you have any problem in school, you are facing any problem in class here, you are facing any problem, you are not able to get. You need to talk to me. Don't hesitate. You have to tell me where the problem is, only then it can be fixed. Otherwise, you will continue with your problem till the examination. Next, course pedagogy, how the course will progress and what I expect from you. Okay. First sessions will be concept building session. For example, today's session will be concept building session. And after that, it will be examples and illustration also. So today I'll cover, for example, in first chapter, I'll cover these two steps. These are continuous steps basically, okay? After that, there will be practice assignments. After second class, that is today's class and the day after class, after that, I'll enable one assignment and you will solve that assignment to test your knowledge. Once practice assignments are there, then I'll check how much you have grasped. For that, Viva will be there, and that will be online Viva. Everyone will be there, and in sequence questions will be asked. Then there will be tutorial sessions to fill the gaps. If I find that students are still not clear about few points, and that is usually the case, tutorial sessions will be there. After that, there will be online tests. Online tests will be on examiumclasses.in, the website. For you, you will get the credentials, login, and password tomorrow for that. Now, these tests are designed in such a way that these have JEE and NEET level questions also. So those students who are preparing for competitive examinations, they should focus more on these type of tests. If they are able to solve these tests, obviously these are CBSE standard plus JEE NEET also. Then there will be revision session if required. After the online sessions, one revision session will be there to just conclude that everything is in place, students are able to understand, there are no gaps. Then it will start the process all over again for the next chapter. So this will be the pedagogy, and this will be my expectation from you, that you solve the assignments on time, you submit on time, you do good in Viva, you do good in tests. Okay. Now, if you understand everything, is there any question till now? Because after that, I'll start the class. Any question, don't hesitate to ask.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you had told us that there's a part of the syllabus which is irrelevant for a preparation, and you
Yes.
don't want us to waste time on. So, sir, would it affect our preparation for the JEE exam also?
No, not at all, because that is something which is irrelevant. And because, NCERT, the syllabus is normally added. The redundant part is not removed. That is the problem. The problem is that the concepts which were added around 15 years ago have not been still removed, which should have been removed. And teachers know, the examiners which set your paper, the teachers which set your paper, who set your paper, they know that those topics are irrelevant. They don't ask questions from those topics. Okay. And moreover, it is very important, because you asked very good question from JEE and NEET perspective. That is sheer wastage of time, because never any question will appear from those sections in JEE and NEET. Okay. Might be there is a rare possibility that your teacher can ask a question, but in JEE and NEET, never. Is that
Okay,
clear?
sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question?
So there will be one classes for each of these things, now, like concept
No,
building.
not one classes. It depends. Okay, how long the chapter is, what is the length of the chapter. So one chapter usually takes around 4 to 5 classes minimum. And if we consider the chapters like thermodynamics, equilibrium, these take around 11 to 12 classes per chapter.
Okay.
So now, if that is clear, then we move to the concept building part. So first we will be talking about the mole concept. In this chapter is designed in such a way that initially this chapter again talks about things which are irrelevant. Okay. If you study this chapter from NCERT, the first 3-4 chapters pages are useless. They do not give you any information except that you have already done so in 9th standard. And that is very, very basic information, that what is length, what is density, what is volume, which you already know. So don't waste time there. Those questions will never be asked. You are not going to be asked questions like what is volume, what is density, what is mass, what is weight, what is difference in mass and weight. You already know that. Okay. So don't waste time. Now here, the design of this chapter is in such a way that first I'll consider mole concept. After that, I'll consider significant figures. Significant figures will be taught to you by Sayed sir also, if you have physics, okay, in physics, and the concepts are almost same except at one place. The significant figure concepts are same. After that, we will talk about the laws, okay, uh, and then a little bit about other things, stoichiometric ratios, etc. So that is what I progress this particular chapter, and that is the best way I have found. Otherwise, if I consider everything what you have already studied in 9th standard, okay, that is wastage of time. But still, you will get a feel of what you have already done about mole concept in 9th standard. Before I proceed, how many of you can tell me what is atomic mass? I just want to have a feel that if you remember anything from your previous grades or not. What is atomic mass? Can anyone tell me?
So atomic mass is the number of protons and neutrons in an atom.
Number of protons and neutrons in an atom is actually mass number. That is a number. However, you are close. Okay, approximately these two are close. So if I say atomic mass, what do you think? What is atomic mass? Anyone else?
Sir, sir, I think it is the mass of all the protons and electrons inside a substance.
Sir, it is the mass of one atom of an element.
One atom of an element, correct. The only point here is that it is not measured in grams or kilograms.
Yes, sir, it is measured in AMU.
AMU, right? So you remember that from your ninth grade that it is measured in AMU, which is now known as U, that is unified mass, or also sometimes known as DA based on Dalton, okay, who actually said that we should be using AMU. Now I start with mole concept, and this is the way you need to learn mole concept. What I am following the strategy here, you just need to understand if you can grasp the mole concept like this, you can solve all the questions are related to mole concept. Whether you were good in mole concept in ninth or not does not matter. Okay? So start afresh from here. Mole is nothing but a unit of amount. In normal day-to-day cases, we say that I have 1 kilogram of rice, but in chemistry, I don't say I have 1 kilogram of something, some compound. I say I have 1 mole, 2 moles, 3 moles. And there is reason behind that, why we can't use grams or kilograms, why we prefer mole. Any idea, anyone, why instead of grams, we use moles in chemistry? Yes, some are correct. It's amount of substance. So my question is, why in chemistry, instead of grams, we say we will use unit mole, not grams? Okay.
Sir, because grams is a very large unit to measure something small as a molecular atom.
That is one of the reasons. Yes, good. That is one of the reasons. Another reason is that in chemistry, the reactions are in some other ratio. The reactions are not in gram ratio. It's not like that. If I write here H2 plus O2 gives you 2H2O, it's not that 2 grams will react with 1 gram and they will produce 2 grams of H2O. It can never be possible because here you have 3 grams and 3 grams can produce 2 grams, then where 1 gram vanished. So these two or 1 or 2. What are these? These
These
are,
are
yes.
so these are moles, like we can say that 2 moles of hydrogen are reacting with 1 mole of oxygen, or molecules also we can say.
Exactly. So before that, we just consider these as molecules. 2 molecules of hydrogen react with 1 molecule of oxygen and they produce 2 molecules of H2O, isn't it? So
Yes,
this
sir.
is the reason we use mole, because there is direct relationship between number of molecules and number of moles, which I will be talking about. But before that, I need to be clear that why we are using moles instead of grams, because in chemistry, the reactions are in the ratio of moles, not in the ratio of grams. That is the main reason. Now we move to the definition. Prior to 2019, the definition, which is given in NCERT, okay? So if you are asked about define mole, this is the definition you have to write, which you have studied in 9th standard as well. The mole is the amount of substance of a system. Of a system means anything, maybe substance, block, you can have pens, okay, which contains as many elementary entities as there are atoms in 12 grams of carbon 12. Now, this is very weird definition. So that's why you just need to remember this definition. You are not going to use this definition anywhere. it is from application perspective, this definition is useless, worthless. It is only if you are asked about defined mole, you will write this. So memorize this one. Otherwise, application wise, this is the new definition, okay, which has been given after 2019, and it is not the definition you will be writing in examination. This is for application perspective. 1 mole of a substance is exactly 6.02214076 into 10 power 23 elementary entities. So normally we will use only 6.022, not 140676 for simplification perspective. It means if I say I have 1 mole of tens, I'm not talking about chemistry, I'm talking about 1 mole in general life. It means I have these many pens. 6.022 into 10 power 23 pens, if I have, I'll say I have 1 mole of pen. Now, how I apply this in chemistry? In chemistry, it will be if I say I have 1 mole of carbon atoms, it means how many atoms are there? 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. These many carbon atoms I have. And then I'll say I have 1 mole of carbon atoms. So this definition is rather simplified and applicable also. You will actually be using this definition. You will not be using the previous definition. Okay. So this is as per IUPAC, IUPAC. Okay. IUPAC decides everything about what we need to define, how, what elements need to be named as. So IUPAC is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Okay, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So according to IUPAC, after 2019, this is the definition of 1 mole. Now we are going to understand 1 mole in detail. So everyone has to be attentive now because this is the base of what the questions will appear like, how you will be solving those questions. So mole can be represented in various ways, particularly 3 ways. And that's what I'm going to discuss here. Before I start, in the chat window, mark your presence, just write present, okay? Present, nothing else. I'll get your name in the chat window, so don't write your name, just write present. Don't send your messages to everyone, select panelists only. In the chat window, many students are sending their messages to everyone. You can select either all panelists or you can select examium classes.
सर एग्जामिन क्लासेस के मेरे 2 ऑप्शंस दिखा रहे हैं, को-होस्ट एंड
Any,
होस्ट. मैं
both
होस्ट
are same. Both are same.
ओके सर. ओके.
Mark your presence. Right. So moving forward, 1 mole. So the first point is when we say mole, it can be represented in terms of numbers, which I have already talked about, okay, which is the definition, new definition. We represent them in terms of particles. And when we say representative particles, it means these particles can be whatever the substance represents. For example, if the substance exists as molecules, for example, O2, then we will say these many molecules. But if substance exists as atom, for example, carbon, we will say these many atoms. If the entity we are talking about is an ion, for example, Na plus, then we will say these many ions. So by representative particles, we mean what the substance represents. If it is ionic, we will talk about ions. If it is atomic, atoms, molecules, etc. Okay. So in few cases, it will be given like particle only. It can be any particle, molecule, atom, etc. Okay. But particles, so those many particles in that case. So when we say 1 mole equal to how many particles? This is something I told you in the definition. So who is going to tell me 1 mole is equal to how many particles? There is a specific name for that number also. You can just write the name also in the chat window. Yes, Tanishi, good. Amir, good. Nakul,
तो क्या बताना है?
you need to tell me 1 mole will be equal to how many particles? Yash, correct. Kartike, correct. Surya Santnata, correct. Yash, yes. Ariman,
Sir, we can write the name also, no?
yes, you can write the name.
Sir, I have written the name.
Good. Yes, good. So all answers correct. Good. Devyansh, correct. So it is the Avogadro number. So if I say 1 mole equals to Avogadro number, 2 moles will be 2 into Avogadro number, 3 moles 3 into. So you need to multiply mole by Na. Na is Avogadro number. And you will get the number of particles. So this is the easiest part if you want to convert mole to particles. Remember, these particles, if I am talking about 1 mole of H2O, then these particles will be H2O molecules. If I am talking about 1 mole of helium, helium is atomic, okay? So in that case, these many atoms. Clear? If I am talking about 1 mole of iron, it is atom. These many atoms. If I say 1 mole of chloride ion, in that case, it will be 1 mole of iron. Opposite, obviously, you need to divide. So if I talk about, if I need to convert the particles into moles, I'll divide the particles which I have by Na. The number of particles divide by Na, you will get the number of moles. Okay, in that case. So very easy conversion in this case from mole to particles and from particles to moles. Yes, now Samad, Shivani, yes, your answers were correct. Good. Now if I move to volume of gas, because 1 mole of gases will also be there. So if I have carbon dioxide, I can say I have 1 mole of carbon dioxide, I have 1 mole of sulfur dioxide, and so on. What is the relationship if I convert 1 mole to volume? Before I proceed, you need to remember we are talking about volume of gas only. So these conditions are important here. Gas only. So we will not be talking about volume of solid or liquid here. So this is not applicable. This conversion is not applicable for gaseous, for liquid volume and solid volume, only for gaseous volume. Then we talked about STP here. It means we are talking about volume of gas at STP, means standard temperature and pressure. The standard temperature and pressure is 0 degrees Celsius, that is 273 Kelvin, and 1 atmospheric pressure. This is known as standard temperature and pressure. Standard temperature 273 K, 0 degrees Celsius, and pressure 1 atm. Because if we change this temperature pressure, the volume will change. More about that we will talk in 5th chapter, states of matter. Okay. So when we say we are converting mole to volume of gas, we are talking about standard temperature and pressure only. And it is only for gases. Yes, Ariman, you are correct. That is something we will be using in 5th chapter. Okay. So 1 mole, when converted to volume of a gas at STP, is equal to 22.4 liters. It means if at you have a container, you can visualize it like this. You have a container and its volume is 22.4 liters and the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius and pressure is 1 atm, then it means you have 1 mole inside this container. You have 1 mole inside this container. If you have 2 moles, obviously the volume will be double, 3 moles, triple. So that's why you need to multiply moles by 22.4 to get the volume of gas at STP of those many moles. So volume will be in liters in this case. Unit is important. This 22.4 is referred to as molar volume. And the reason is very simple because it is volume of 1 mole of the gas. That's why 22.4 liter is also referred as molar volume. Now there is a catch also. In 1st chapter, we will be using 22.4 liters as molar volume, but in 5th chapter, NCERT considers 22.7 liters. So that is something I have written to NCERT also quite a few years back, but it has not been corrected. Okay. And the reason is why this difference is there. The difference is that at STP, it is 22.4 liter. But if we consider the pressure instead of 1 atm, if I consider it as 1 bar, another unit of pressure is 1 bar, then it is 22.7. So in 5th chapter, NCERT has considered actually 1 bar and mentions it as STP, which is logically not correct, but you have to follow whatever is written in NCERT. Okay, so in 1st chapter, 22.4, and 5th chapter related to those questions, 22.7. Opposite will be just division. So whatever volume you have, you divide that by 22.4, you will get the moles. Remember, the volume has to be in liters, otherwise the answer will not be correct. So volume in liters divided by 22.4, you will get the number of moles. Now the third is conversion in terms of mass. And this is the most tricky and cumbersome part here, okay? But this is something you have already done in 9th grade. In 9th grade, you have been told the formula that number of moles equal to given mass upon molar mass. You should remember that, okay? This is actually this conversion, this part. How do you understand this one? To understand this one, you need to understand it. How many grams will be there in 1 mole of a substance? Can anyone tell me? In 1 mole of substance, any chemical substance, how many grams will be there? Think about it.
Sir, 12 gram, I guess.
Mhm.
Sir, it's atomic mass in grams.
You are close. Just let me see.
Sir,
why.
18 grams.
Okay.
Sir, 12 gram.
Who said that? Just come again.
Sir, 12
Devansh.
grams.
Okay. Okay, no. Only one answer till now is close. Others,
So we should like multiply it by 1.66 and 10 to the power minus 22 grams.
okay.
Sir, whose
yes.
answer is close?
Okay, just repeat. Who said that it is atomic mass in grams?
So
Sir, Ariman.
Ariman. Okay, so Ariman's answer was very close, very much close, I would say, because it is almost true when we are considering only the atomic substances. If it is atomic substance, yes, the answer is correct. If the substance is molecular substance, for example, you have copper sulfate. It's not an atom; it is a molecule. In that case, it will be equal to molar mass. Okay, but answer was very much correct. So here that concept is utilized in this case. 1 mole is equal to molar mass in grams. So the answer, if you give 12 grams, that was answer typically for carbon 12. So if I'm considering carbon 12, if I ask the question that how many grams will be there in 1 mole of carbon? So you will say that as atomic mass of carbon is 12. Hence, 1 mole of carbon will be equal to 12 grams. That's what you need to remember. In simple way, 1 mole of any compound will be equal to its molar mass in grams. Now, when I say molar mass, obviously, if it is in atomic form, molar mass will become atomic mass. So that's why whatever moles you have, you multiply that by molar mass, you will get the total mass. For example, if I'm considering the carbon and say I have 2 moles of carbon. So if it is 1 mole of carbon, it will be 12 grams. If it is 2 moles of carbon, it will be 2 into 12, that is 24 grams. Just a second, I'm getting a call. Clear? So if you want to convert moles to molar mass, sorry, moles to mass, the conversion is very easy. You just need to multiply it by molar mass. Opposite is just division by molar mass, mass divided by molar mass. And this is the formula you have used extensively in 9th grade to calculate the number of moles from the mass. You just divided it by molar mass to get the number of moles. Now, how to remember it and not to make mistakes? This is for those students who usually make mistakes if they don't understand this concept. So the easier way to understand it, that if you are converting mole to anything, whether you are converting to particle, whether you're converting to volume, whether you're converting it to mass, this conversion is always multiplication. Mole to particle, you multiply by Na. Mole to volume, you multiply by 22.4. Mole to mass, you multiply by molar mass. So
So what is molar mass?
Okay. It's something basically I should ask. Okay, molar mass. At the beginning, I asked what is atomic mass. Okay, before starting this class, I asked what is atomic mass. Atomic mass is actually the mass of an atom. Okay, whatever is inside the atom, protons, neutrons, okay, electrons we usually neglect, but protons and neutrons. Okay, there are 34 particles inside atom, which we don't talk about. Okay. There are 34 identified particles, but we talk about only protons, neutrons, and electrons because these are of importance. Others are of not much importance. So what we talk about atomic mass is equal to the mass of usually protons and neutrons inside the atom. but we don't represent it in grams. We represent it in U, which is unified mass, or AMU, which is equal to 1/12 of the mass of one carbon atom, carbon 12. So this is something you might remember from your 12th grade, that if I have carbon 12, and you know about isotopes or not, just confirm, just let me know whether you know about isotopes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yes.
So you have carbon 12, carbon 13, carbon 14. Carbon 14 is actually radioactive. Yeah. So carbon 12, if we consider, and if we have one atom of carbon 12 and we divide it into 12 parts, okay? So one part is equal to 1 AMU. So this is the definition as per IUPAC body. This has been given the name as AMU. So this much amount has been termed as 1 AMU. So in terms of this 1 AMU, we calculate the mass of other atoms. So for example, oxygen atom. Okay? If we consider the oxygen atom, in AMU, it is equal to approximately 16. So we say that the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. Now, if we consider H2O, then it is not an atom, it is a molecule. So hydrogen has 1 AMU, so 2 into 1 plus one oxygen atom has 16 AMU. It means total 18 U. So atomic mass of H2O, that is water, will be 18 U, which is actually the molar mass in this case. Is that clear? And we call
Yes,
it
sir.
molecular mass if we are considering the molecule. Again, very important point where students are confused. Students are not able to differentiate between molecular mass and molar mass. Now it should be clear, when I say molecular mass, I am considering the mass of one molecule. If I am talking about molar mass, I am talking about these many grams. Molar mass is the molecular mass represented in grams. Atomic mass is here.
Sir,
You can say
the mass of the protons and the electrons inside
electrons
an atom.
normally not considered.
Yes,
Proton
sir.
and neutron. Okay. So more atomic mass, if I consider, say if I consider carbon only, its atomic mass will be mass of all protons and mass of all neutrons. Electron has negligible mass as compared to protons and neutrons. That's so first tell me whether you are able to understand what is the difference in molar mass and molecular mass or not. Molecular mass will always be represented in AMU. So it is the actual mass of the atom. Molar mass is mass of 1 mole, which will eventually be equal to the same 18, but grams. So few things you need to remember, these points. Okay? And you don't need to go into those details which we have done in 9th grade. Okay? Not too many details that how it is calculated, whether it is for carbon, for example, 6 protons plus 6 neutrons. No, in 11th grade, nobody is going to ask you those type of questions. So point to remember, if you are converting mole to anything, you will always multiply mole to something. Mole multiplied by 6.022 into 10 power 23 will give you number of atoms, molecules, particles, ions, etc. Mole multiplied by 22.4 will give you the volume of that gas at STP, not applicable for liquid and solid. Mole multiplied by molar mass will give you the actual mass. Opposite is for conversion from outer parts to mole, volume to mole, particle to mole, mass to mole. Now tell me any confusion till now, because I'll move to questions then. If there is any confusion, let me know.
So, sir, the volume of gas, like you said, it should be mentioned in. ये आपने बताया था, but in STP it is not applicable. तो जैसे एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आएगा तो हमें STP में नहीं लिखना है ना volume
No,
of
no,
gas.
you have to. What I am saying, STP in chapter 1 is 22.4. In chapter 5, it is 22.7. Volume is different. Otherwise, you have to mention STP.
Okay, sir.
STP has to be mentioned. Otherwise, how you can say that this much will be the volume? The moment you change the temperature or pressure, the volume will change.
Sir, what is represented?
Your, I couldn't listen to you. Your voice is not
Sir,
clear.
sir,
Yes,
sir, we have to calculate the molar mass before solving the question.
Sir, represented by
you can write in the chat window. You are not audible at all. It looks like that somebody is plucking guitar strings. Okay, what I can hear. Just write in the chat window.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, do we have to calculate the molar mass before solving the question?
It depends what the question is. Okay, so I'll explain everything. So we will do the questions just to ensure that you get the idea or not. Yes, just let me know in the chat window what is your question if there is still any confusion. And make sure that you have good connection. If you don't have the broadband, just make sure that you get a broadband. And just the plan is such that you have good speed. Now, in broad sense, what I said, 1 mole of element is equal to its atomic mass in grams. So if we are talking about any element, carbon, iron, manganese, then its atomic mass, you just place a gram in front of that, that will be 1 mole. If we are talking about 1 mole of a compound, for example, 1 mole of H2SO4, molar mass of H2SO4 is 98, 98 gram will be 1 mole. So now because we are talking about atomic mass in grams, molecular mass in grams is equal to 1 mole. That's why 1 mole is also termed as gram atomic mass. And here students sometimes make mistake. They think it is gram. No. Gram atomic mass is just telling you that atomic mass represented in grams. And atomic mass represented in grams is nothing but it is 1 mole. Whenever you see this term, gram atomic mass, it means we are talking about 1 mole. Similarly, gram molecular mass, same thing. It means we are talking about molecular mass in grams, which is actually 1 mole. So gram atomic mass, gram molecular mass, actually 1 mole, nothing else. Another term for mole. Yes, Devyansh, Na represents Avogadro number. Correct. Okay. And we will be using Avogadro number as 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. In few books, it is written as 6.023 also. Okay. Correct value is close to 6.022, not 6.023. Yes, Kartikeya, that's what I'm saying. If it is written 5 gram atomic mass, it does not mean it is 5 gram. It means we have 5 moles. Okay. So you got it correct. And that's where normally students make mistake. And even though I tell you initially, few students will make mistake. They will not be able to understand. It is actually 1 mole, nothing else. Now, when we say 1 mole, and I told you that it is nothing but the atomic mass and molar mass in grams, these are actually all 1 moles. Here, whatever substances I have shown, These are actually 1 mole. So mercury 2 oxide is actually HgO. Its molar mass is 216.59. Those many grams will be equal to 1 mole. So I have 216.59 grams of HgO, mercuric oxide. It will be equal to 1 mole. Now sucrose. Sucrose,
Sir, I wanted to ask something.
yes.
तो सर ये जो मर्क्यूरी ऑक्साइड है इसका मॉलिक्यूलर मास 2.216.59 AMU होगा.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Right? Because its molecular mass is 216.59. That's why its molar mass is 216.59 grams. Similarly, sucrose. Sucrose, the formula is C11H12O20. Okay. Huge molecule. Its molecular mass is 342 units, approximately. Okay, approximately. So 342 grams will be 1 mole.
So,
Similarly, yes.
sir, I wanted to ask a question, sir. So, for suppose sir, हमें एक हाइड्रोजन का हमारे पे एटम है एंड हमें उसके मास दे रखा है एक, मतलब हमें दे रखा है 1 U एंड एक दे रखा है 1 ग्राम पर मोल. तो सर उनमें डिफरेंस क्या होगा?
You have one atom and what you have?
सर हाइड्रोजन है सर.
Okay.
एंड सर हमें मतलब उसको अगर उसका जो मास है हमें एक 1 U दे रखा है 1 AMU और हमें दे रखा है 1 ग्राम पर मोल. सर इन दोनों में क्या डिफरेंस होगा?
Okay. What there is basically just the difference in understanding. Otherwise, both are same thing. Why? Because 1 U is atomic mass. Okay. 1 U is atomic mass. It means its 1 mole will have 1 gram. That's what we say. As per definition, atomic mass represented in grams is equal to 1 mole. Is that clear till here?
Yes, sir.
It means what we are saying. We are saying that 1 gram in 1 mole, that is 1 gram per mole. So these are actually interrelated. From 1 you get the information that there will be 1 gram in 1 mole. That's what you have written here.
Okay.
Now sulfur. Sulfur actually the symbol is S, but it does not exist as S. For example, oxygen exists as O2, sulfur exists as S8.
S8.
Right? Yes, correct. S8. So sulfur, one atom, atomic mass is 32. So S8 molecular mass will be 32 multiplied by 8. U. Those many grams will be 1 mole. The molecular mass of sulfur S8 will be 256 U. So 1 mole will be 256 grams. Similarly, copper 2 sulfate pentahydrate. Copper 2 sulfate pentahydrate means it is CuSO4.5H2. Pentahydrate means there are 5 H2O molecules attached to it, hydration molecules. So you calculate the molecular mass of CuSO4.5H2O. Those many grams will be in 1 mole. So if you calculate this one, you will get 249.50 U as molecular mass. Those many grams will be equal to 1 mole. Similarly, sodium chloride, normal salt, table salt, 23 plus 35.5. 23 is molar mass of sodium, 35.5 is average atomic mass. Atomic mass of sodium, atomic mass of chlorine, but this is average. What is that average? I will be talking about in next classes. If you add these two, you get 58.5 U, so 58.5 grams will be 1 mole. Similarly, copper is just metal. Okay, its atomic mass is 63.5 U. So 63.5 grams of copper will be equal to 1 mole. Now, one thing is common in every of these jars shown here. One thing is common. One thing they will have same, apart from mole, obviously this is 1 mole. What is that which will be same in all these, whether it is mercury oxide, sucrose, whatever I have shown here, what is same in all of these? Who will tell me?
So the number of particles, right?
Correct, very good. Number of
Yes, sir.
particles in all of these will be 6.022 into 10 power 23. Okay. So that's what, if you have understood, it means you have now sufficient knowledge so that we can solve few questions. Before that, just a recap. 1 mole of atoms. Just a second. Yes, Devansh, correct. 1 mole of atoms means 6.022 into 10 power 23 atoms, which is equal to gram atomic mass. Means we are talking about 1 mole. So gram atomic mass is nothing but 1 mole. Similarly, 1 mole of molecules will be those many molecules. Here it was atoms and molecules. And here we will call it gram molecular mass, not gram atomic mass. Then moles of any element, this is something from your 9th grade, mass divided by atomic mass. But if we are talking about moles of a compound, it will be mass divided by molecular mass. Instead of atomic mass, now we will call it molecular mass. Okay. Then mass of one atom, obviously it will be atomic mass divided by how many atoms are there in 1 mole?
6.022 into 10 to the power 23.
Correct. Similarly, mass of one molecule will be its molecular mass divided by, why molecular mass? Because its molecular mass is actually 1 mole. These many
Yes,
grams
sir.
will actually be 1 mole. Okay. And 1 mole has how many molecules? 6.022 into 10 power 23. So divide it by that. You will get mass of 1 molecule. Then volume occupied by 1 mole of gas at STP, 22.4 liter. If you understand these points, we move to the question. And question I need to ask you, which is very simple. Obviously, we will not be able to do many questions today. Calculate the number of atoms in 1 mole of carbon. How many number of atoms will be there in 1 mole of carbon? Tell me in the chat box. Very quickly, this one is very easy. I am expecting answer from everyone. Number of atoms in 1 mole of carbon. Correct. You can just write the symbol also. Yes, no, Aryaman, yes. Devyansh, yes. Yash Goyal, correct. Shashwat, correct. Amir, correct. Good. So it will be just 6.022 into 10 power 23. We have just talked about it. 1 mole always will have the Avogadro number equal to the atoms. Here, carbon in the form of atoms, hence atom. So if you know that 0.5 mole will have half of that, 1 mole has 6.022 into 10 power 23, 0.5 will have half of that. So you will have 3.011 into 10 power 23. Means you have divided the Avogadro number by 2. Next, calculate the number of atoms in 32 grams of sulfur. So 32 grams of sulfur, if we are talking about, it is just sulfur atoms, okay, not molecules. So don't get confused. Sulfur atoms means just sulfur. We are not considering S8. So sulfur atomic mass is 32U. It means 32 grams will be equal to 1 mole. It means there will be only 6.022 into 10 power 23 atoms. Now, how many number of atoms in 3.2 grams of sulfur? If 32 grams, there are 6.022 into 10 power 23. In 3.2 grams, 6.022 into 10 power 22. You divide by 10. Unitary method, simple unitary method. Now the question, calculate the number of molecules in 180 gram of glucose. For that, you need to first calculate the molar mass of glucose. And molar mass of glucose, I would suggest that you remember these things. Molar mass of glucose is actually 180 U. Okay, few things I'll ask you to memorize so that you don't waste time in examination. Okay, one of those things is molar mass of glucose, 180 grams. It means the number of, and it exists as molecule, the number of molecules will be same, 6.022 into 10 power 23. Now if I change the question slightly, now I say how many atoms are there in 18 grams of glucose? Now the question is slightly tricky. We won't say in 180 grams it was 6.022 into 10 power 23. In 18 gram it will be 6.022 into 10 power 22. No, those many will be the molecules only. In 180 grams, we have 6.022 into 10 power 23 molecules. Hence, in 18 grams, we will have 6.022 into 10 power 22 molecules. Hence, atoms will be C6H12O6. How many atoms are there in one molecule? There are 6 plus 12 plus 6. 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, 6 oxygen. That is 24 atoms are there in one molecule. It means number of atoms will be number of molecules, that is 6.022 into 10 power 22 multiplied by 24. And once you solve it, you will get 1.445 into 10 power 20.
Sir, can you re-explain this?
Yes. What's happening here, that instead of molecules, in previous question you were asked about molecule and this is a molecule. So the answer was very easy. But here you have been asked atoms, not in 180 gram, 18 gram only. So you have grams and you have molecules. In 180 grams, you have 6.022 into 10 power 23 molecules. Hence, by applying unitary method in 18 gram, you will have 6.022 into 10 power 22. Is that clear till here?
Yes, sir.
These many molecules, but one molecule has 24 atoms. Why? C6H12O6. 6 carbons plus 12 hydrogen plus 6 oxygen. 24 atoms in just one molecule. So these many molecules will have how many atoms? You need to multiply it by 24. That will be the answer. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now before you leave, I ask a question. And the question is, how many atoms are there in 18 grams of H2O at STP? Sorry, 18 milliliters of H2O at STP. How many atoms are there in 18 milliliter of H2O at STP? Who will tell me the answer? Or rather, I'll simplify it. I'll simplify it. I simplify. How many atoms are there in 22.4 liter of H2O at STP? Who will give me the answer? In the chat window, don't say on mic. Yes, Goyal, no. Devyansh, no. Quickly, quick, just I have to start 12th class. Quickly give me the answer. Atman, no. Aryaman, no. Samad, no. Yash Goyal, no. Tanishi, no. Sarthak, no. Yash Bedi, no. Amir, no. Surya Smitadas, no, right? No. So I'm ending the class now. Keep thinking why I am saying your answer is not correct. Okay. Karnav, no. Shashwat, no. Kavish, no. Why I am saying your answer is not correct? Keep thinking, and we will talk about it in next class. Till then, take
Can we
care.
leave?
Bye-bye. Yes. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Bye,
you,
beta.
sir.
Bye, beta. Bye.
Thank you, sir.